Masechet Shevuot Daf Mem Vav Amud Aleph, two lines from the top. You've been mentioning to now where a boss and a worker are arguing about money in that they agreed on. Marbi Yemi Abar Abba Shalhu Mibei Rav Shmuel and then really asked the rabbi, Oman She'amar Shtaim Ktastiv. The worker said, "Hey, you told me you're going to pay me two." But I said, "No." The owner says, "No, I told him said one." Who swears? And he says, "Bezu Yeshiva Balabait." Over here, the owner swears that he said one. The Yafsid one, and the guy loses it. Tzitzad v'dai mitkak dichrenchi because the person knows how much he agreed on. Really, and he's at Soba. The guy agreed on a price. The guy has to bring a proof, which means the employer has to prove that it was two. I mean, that sounds like that if you can't bring a proof, then there's no swearing. Yeshiva Balabait v'yasilam. The question is, how come according to Shmuel you should have to swear? The Gemara says no. Amar Rahman Tzedin Tani teaches you both halachot. O meviraya ve'yitol. Either the worker can bring a proof that he was owed two and take it, or Yeshiva Balabait v'yasilam, or the owner, the boss, swears that it was one, and he goes off. Okay, that's it. I don't think that all. Luman, if a boss, the guy gives his shirt to someone to fix. The guy says, "You're going to pay me $2 to fix it." But I said, "No, I'll pay you one." Called the to be if the shirt is still by the craftsman's property, the owner of the shirt has to bring a proof. Netanyahu, the worker already gave back the shirt to the guy. It's a classic case of cleaners. Bismano, if he cleaned it during the time when it was due. Mishbah b'notel. He has to swear that it was two and collect the phone bill. Avad b'nov, the time for payment already passed. The craftsman has to bring a proof. It's not sounds like at any point that if the guy during the time wants to swear during the time, he can swear collect even though it's about the price. Am I why according to Shmuel Yeshiva Baba the guy whose shirt should be able to swear against the craftsman and that's it. Gemara says no. He's according to the Yudah. He's according to the Bidadar. Calls man. He holds it. Shevuot Nota it's a Well, he said that whenever there's a Shevuah, it's upon the owner slash boss slash craftsman to swear. He said to say further as well, the employee can also swear and take it. That's why the craftsman could swear. Which Rebbe says this? If you want to bring proof from our Mishnah, where he says that regarding partial admission, in our Mishnah, he was mahmir, more mahmir than hachamim. The time he says you need a partial admission. This over here does not mention any admission over here. Hachamim sound like even if there's no admission. So that can't be the source. The Gemara says, the source of the Breita. And the Breita says, the guy who's hired, is that not until the Rabbanim Chachamim hold over here that if the guidance, if the price tied in, sorry, if time didn't pass for payment, he can swear to take it. But if payment time has passed, he can't swear and take it. Than that. When can he claim it before it's over? When he told the guy, he said, pay me back $50 you owe me. He says, no, you already received the golden one, and therefore only 25 left. Or the guy told the worker, I told you two, but the guy said, no, you was one. In both cases, since the guy admitted the partial, he's chayav. But the guy said, right? We see from here that in this Braita, Rabbi says clearly, if there's no agreement on the amount, you can still make the guy swear, as long as the owner has a partial admission. Okay. That's the case that we said that the employer amount, right? They're arguing in the amount. We are now, in the case Rabbi is Mahmir and says you can't swear to collect your money, Rabbanan say you can swear, if the worker could swear. So in the case where Rabbi is lenient, that allows him to swear to collect the money that he's owed in the case where the amount is in dispute. Mahmir Rabbanan is Hamim be more Mahmir there. What's the problem? Rabbanan, he's saying the Braita should be Rabbanan. The Braita says as well, if the guy is the amount that they agreed on, I'm gonna say that if that's under dispute, I'm not seeing how they have to bring a proof of money. Who's it according to? It's not according to either. If Hamim would agree to Rabbi Yehuda, so it must be that they disagree with Rabbi Yehuda. Where it says El Marava, right? So basically, now the problem is that the way we explain Rabbi Yehuda and Hachamim, the Rabbi Yehuda seemingly is more lenient towards the worker than Hachamim are, but in the Mishnah, however, Rabbi Yehuda is more machmir towards the worker. So why we have two separate things going on? The Gemara says, okay, El Marava, back in the Machlokes as follows. Rabbi Yehuda says, Rabbi Yehuda holds, but the Raita, in a case where the biblical Deoraita Shevuah min Torah, Avdu le takana l'zachir, Hamim made a helping takana for the worker to swear and collect his wage. Ubidram, when it's a case is a drabanan swearing, where the guy said he paid half the wages, have a takanta, that's only a drabanan, but takanta takana, we can't make a double takana to allow the employee to swear. That's why the employer swears. Rabbanan's not very Hamim hold, but the Rabbanan have dina takanta sachir. We say no, it's fine. You can allow the guy to swear instead of the employer to collect. But the problem is if the amount is in dispute, you can't have the employee swear because you could have the employer swear because he knows how much he agreed on. Okay. Nigzal Ketzer, what's the case of the theft in our Mishnah? I mentioned in the Mishnah, we explained it briefly that it's the guy who went into the other guy's property to take a collateral for the debt that he owed. Okay. The Dilma, who said he didn't take, maybe he didn't take anything. Maybe he just went in and went out. Who said that he actually took something? Oh, we testify he walked in and walked out. Okay. Who said he took anything? Mila Amar Nachan, Hayman den Akit, Nariga Biadev, Azal, Yitzev, Kitlev, Kitlev, Hane, Vashach, Kitlev, Vasharte, Laminan, who tekatle, Alma, Inish, the Gazim, will Avid. Hachanami, the Gazid. They don't have it. He says, one second, we know where Nachman holds this concept of not assuming, basically. He says, the guy said, I have an accident, the guy has an accident, he said, I'm going to go cut down the tree of Reuven, and then we find out the tree was chopped down. Do we assume that it was him? We know. People exaggerate. So over here, maybe the guy ran into the property, they want to take away your Rolex, and didn't take it. Who says he stole? Why can you say that, oh, the guy swears? No, I swear he stole. Why is he believed? Where it says Ema Umishkina, the Mishnah means that he did take something. Where it says the last name is okay, fine. Check what he took. What he needs swearing for it. Where it says no, it's about a case where he hid it on the way out. Someone witnesses saw somebody in someone else's house walking out and hiding something inside his shirt. He didn't say I bought them. Man's not believed. But however, it depends. That only applies to a guy who doesn't usually sell stuff. But if he walked out of a house where the guy does yard sales every single day, then yes, he believes to have sold it. They bought it from him. And also in regards to this case, even the guy who doesn't usually sell it, it only applies when he's not believed to say that he bought it, only when it's something that's not usually hidden. But if it's something that is usually hidden, he's believed because that's why he's hiding it. He's not trying to hide to steal. Meaning also in regards to things that are not usually hidden, it's only applying to someone who's not usually very secretive. But if the guy is usually secretive and he usually hides everything, then that's his usual way of handling things, and therefore he's believed to say he bought them. It only applies where the guy says that these were borrowed. The owner says that he borrowed it, and the guy holding it says he bought it. But if the guy says he stole it, you can't be believed because we don't assume that everybody is walking into everybody's houses to steal, and therefore he is believed to say he stole it. That only applies to something that's usually lent out or rented. Something that's not usually lent out or rented, Neman is believed like we said earlier, if the guy's holding something that's usually rented out or borrowed, and he said he bought them, he's not believed because it's more usually rented out or borrowed, and therefore he can't say he bought them. One time with a guy case where Rabat took a pair of scissors, a book of Agarata, miyadne from orphans, even though their father had them last, because these are items that are usually lent out or rented. Right, and I remember distinctly that a case of what would be a case of something that's not usually rented out or borrowed. It would be like a utensil of like a shochet or a mohel. That's something that's theirs. They don't usually rent it out. So you walk out of his house saying, "Oh, it's mine." No, it's not yours. Okay. I feel even a watchman can swear what the guy took. The Gemara says that. Even the wife, woman's wife can make the swear. The Gemara says, what if the halacha is the guy has a worker there, or the guy is taking care of the field? Can they also swear? Right? Are they believed? They're not part of the theft at all. The Gemara says, "Teku, we're not sure." I'm not because didn't cast my. What's the case? The guy stole a silver cup. Can you say that? Oh, right. He didn't just claim. Oh, the guy took my tissue box. He said he took my Rolex. Can you believe and swear on that? The Gemara says Hazina. We check. If the guy's very wealthy, or if the guy's very trustworthy. That people usually leave it by him. If the guy usually has this type of stuff by him, and therefore it's possible to have this property by him, then he's believed to say that it was stolen. But if not, not. Okay. Yeah, and not only believes it stays stolen, he has to swear in that regard as well. Okay, Nahbal gets up the case of a victim of getting hit. We said if the guy walked in someone's property, walked out, and he's injured. It only applies to a place to swear that he got injured, only in the place where he could have gotten injured. But if it's in a place where he could not injure himself, then he cannot collect payment without hurting himself, without swearing. So meaning, if it's his arm, which he could have done it to himself, he has to swear because we don't want making bogus claims. If in a certain spot that he can't hurt himself so easily, then he doesn't have to swear it. Where it says, okay, let's say he's in the middle of his back. Who says he didn't walk to a wall and scrape his back against the wall and say, oh, look, the guy hit me and I can't reach myself. The Gemara says, if there's a bite mark on his back, or between his elbows, this thing he couldn't have done it himself, that's the type of case where he doesn't have to swear. Okay. Maybe someone else did it to him. Who says that this guy did it? The Gemara says, there's no one else there. Okay. Next part of the Mishnah said that when we say that the other litigant is suspected of swearing falsely, we flip the Shevuot someone else. And we said that if the guy swore falsely previously or he made a pointless oath, why says why did the Mishnah say even a pointless oath? Why is that a bigger hidush? When it says the Mishnah was mentioning the format of you don't need to say. Right? Therefore, Lomi Bayahanach, we didn't need to mention the first two cases where the guy swore falsely already, or he swore by testimony or by deposit. The eighth will keep it at the moment because over there he denied money. So definitely not that. However, even in this case, where the guy swore a pointless oath, he just denied something nonsensical. He's still not believed from future money cases. So that's the case, maybe mention the case of a bitui. Shevuah, where the guy says, I will eat potatoes tomorrow. Where it says, no, almost on a case where the guy is, when he's swearing them, he's swearing falsely. However, when the guy when the guy is swearing a Shevuah b'toy with will eat to potato, he might be swearing truthfully at the time. That's different than something that he's already swearing falsely of immediately, a different type of Shevuah. Okay. Tenach ochel v'lo ochel. That only mentioned regarding to a future item. I will eat or will not eat. Achalti lo achalti might be in the case of where he swore I didn't eat or I did eat. That's something in the past. Like he could be swearing falsely immediately on that as well. The Gemara says, Tana Shevuot Shav, the Mishnah mentioned a case that is a pointless oath. Bechol damile, anything that's type of similar to it. Therefore, even a pointless past Shevuah. Okay. The Mishnah mentioned someone else was the guy was one of the litigants was a gambler, etc. Other litigant swears instead. The Gemara says, why is he mention this case as well? We already said if you're not a testifier, you don't have good character. The Gemara says, Tena pisluti, right? Yes, the Mishnah first mentioned Torah, pislin. The Mishnah mentioned first pislin, disqualifications from the Torah, and then it mentioned Rabbanan ones as well. Let's say the guy, both. If both litigants were suspected of not being able to leave, we said over there that they divide it. The Gemara says, how do you teach this? Who said they divide it? I don't know. What's I don't know. Itmar Barta says, Amar Rabbi Yosef Bar Rechman, Rabbi Yosef Amar Yachok, Rabbi Yosef says you split it. Rabbi Yosef Machoki also says you split it. Ikdam Rabbi Yosef Amar Yachok, different version of who said what. Amar Rav Yosef Bar Naomi, Avad Rab Nachman Uvda Yachloku and Rachman them was posek in the actual case that they had to split it. Mendamen.